but it's not. It's the Anthony Rogers Show. Tell all of your friends to watch the Anthony Rogers Show. The Anthony Rogers Show. It's the best show in the universe. The Anthony Rogers Show. But it's not. It's the Anthony Rogers Show. Tell all of your friends to watch the Anthony Rogers Show. The Anthony Rogers Show. It's the best show in the universe. The Anthony Rogers Show. The Anthony Rogers Show. Tell all of your friends to watch the Anthony Rogers Show. The Anthony Rogers Show. It's the best show in the universe. The Anthony Rogers Show. The Anthony Rogers Show. Tell all of your friends to watch the Anthony Rogers Show in the universe. The Anthony Rogers Show is the best show in the universe. The Anthony Rogers Show.
Hey, it's your favorite comedian Anthony Rogers reminding you to get cigars from Patriot Cigar Company. Tobacco from Nicaragua, best tobacco in the game. Get you some. We got a promo code right now in the description. If you use the promo code LEGENDARY, you get 25% off your cigar orders. Do it now. Welcome back. We all survived that really long intro. We're going to start Frankie off with the weather, and then we're going to get to John talking about what our subject is tonight. Frankie, you want to take us with the weather?
And the weather all across the state of Missouri, lots of rain in St. Louis, and at the line in St. Louis, and Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. There's a super typhoon heading towards Hong Kong. It's going to bring really strong winds right now in Hong Kong time. It's going to be lots of rain all across the United States this Friday, Thursday, and Friday coming up. It's going to bring a whole lot of rain in the eastern United States and America and Florida and all those places. West Coast of Canada next few weeks away. It's going to be colder in Sydney, Nova Scotia tomorrow and Thursday. Then it's going to bring lots of rain in Sydney on Friday. Back to cooler and dry temperatures in Sydney, Nova Scotia on Saturday. Then to get some rain in southeastern United States as well. All across the entire eastern United States, like New York, Boston, all those places. And the weather all across Australia, New Zealand. Lots of rain in South Island, New Zealand. Snow up in the Queenstown, New Zealand, and Southern Hemisphere Springs in New Zealand right now. This weekend coming up, Time Springs ahead in New Zealand. This Saturday night and Sunday coming up, people lose 1 hour of sleep in New Zealand because their Time Springs ahead this weekend coming.
That's thorough, bro. That's like that's crazy. So
It's Southern Hemisphere Spring here, Charlotte Street in Sydney right now.
Nice, man. Are you still? Where are you out of, John? Are you out in New York still?
No, I'm in Prescott, Arizona.
What's Prescott, Arizona look like, Frank, this week?
It's that means that Arizona's still in the rainy season, but hot weather in Arizona is dry there right now. And Arizona is still pretty hot and dry.
Cool, man.
And California had some showers earlier. And the weather in Southern California, it's really hot in Arizona still. It's really, really hot there.
Well, down in Phoenix.
As right now, Gary and Dino lives in Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona, and Glendale. That's where Gary and Dino show is. Gary and Dino, they both live in Phoenix, Arizona. Another guy running the podcast is Gary and Dino. They live in Arizona too.
Cool.
That's awesome, man.
And Gary and Dino, they live in Phoenix, Arizona, somewhere in Scottsdale. And Gary, they're doing great so far. Gary and Dino runs their own podcasts and things like this.
Cool.
And the weather all across and the air south and western ice is still really hot there right now. Then it got some Siberia is getting colder. It's in the northern hemisphere fall right now. And eastern Australia will be getting a lot of severe weather in southeastern Australia. It's going to bring a lot of large hail because it's southern hemisphere spring. That's going to bring their kind of severe weather season in southeastern Australia. Lots of thunder, lightning, and rain. In Australia, in those places, hail capable of breaking windows and things like this, putting dents to cars and smashing car windows by hailstones in southeastern Australia.
That's crazy.
Hong Kong airport closed down because of typhoon.
Hong Kong airport.
And I just made a new vampire video.
Yeah, I saw that. You can go to the Rogers Show Instagram and see that on there. Frank's dressed up as a vampire. Is that what you're gonna be for Halloween?
And then I just do it for videos for vampire. I use the blanket as a cape and fangs as a vampire. I just dress it up and put it on video. I record a video myself.
That was great, man. Do you have any questions for John? John was in the Twin Towers when on 9/11. Basically, we have a huge, crazy story coming up in a second.
His people in New York City scared on September 11, 2001.
I guess we were. It was more just disbelief and, not being able to imagine what was actually happening and just having it register what was happening. I personally was never scared, but I had no idea what was going on. I mean, we'll get into that part of the story, but
Michael Jackson was supposed to have a meeting there, but he didn't show up.
I didn't know that.
yeah, there's rumors around that a lot of people weren't there. I don't know. There's like some of those, conspiracy theory rumors that there were a lot less people there than would normally be there. I didn't notice it myself, but
So you were on the elevator when the plane hit?
yeah. So just by people watching may not know, they had a system of elevators with sky lobbies. So obviously, you got a 110-story office building. You're not going to have elevators going every floor. So they had basically three sets of what I'd call cattle cars. If you're on the first 40 floors, there are elevators in the lobby that would service those floors. I went on one that went to 44, and then there's what they call the sky lobby there, and then you could access elevators up to 80. And then there was another couple of cars that went all the way up to 80, and then you access the top floors from there. And then express elevators that went up to Windows on the World. So I think there were a total of 6 of the express ones. So I would.
Did you just excuse me? Did you just take it to the bottom and like get out, or how did you get out of that situation? That sounds insane.
No, it was stairwell. So
Okay.
gone up the express elevator. Went and got a cup of coffee. They had a great little breakfast joint on that floor, and I guess it was a lunch joint too. And had just got in the elevator to go up to my office on 48, and we had kind of just pulled off, and trying to piece like if the sound came first or the lights flickered first, but there was never really an explosion per se. There was really more of a like metal on metal sound, like literally low pitch, and I think it was just all that aluminum grinding up against the steel. There was never really an explosion because it was all just jet fuel, which just burns really fast. It's not an explosion like TNT where there's a, boom. It's just more of a, fireball type of thing, which could sound like an explosion.
Anthony, tomorrow, professional photographer John Ratch is taking professional photos of me at 6:30 p.m. at Opener Park Atlantic Standard Time.
That's awesome, man. But that's crazy. So That's crazy. You didn't hear like any loud explosion. That was just like So you were just you just got in the elevator when it happened, basically on the 44th.
Yeah, it pulled up maybe a quarter to half of a floor. Like it was really just sort of lifting off. Then it kind of stopped. The lights flickered. Heard that noise and then felt the vibration. And one thing that we get into some of the stories later, the speed of sound. So it even took a half a second for the sound to get down to us, which is like I'm almost wondering if the lights flickered first. Because there's instant electrical just catastrophe. All the electric systems just had to short out completely, given what was going on there.
Hey,
Um,
Anthony, if you want to follow me on social media, my blue skies at Frankie McD. My link tree is Frankie McDowell. My ex formerly Twitter is at Frankie McD. And Frankie McD 94 is Frank 94. My Facebook is Frankie McDowell. My Instagram is my Snapchat is Frankie MCD1. My YouTube channel is Dr. Wolves. And my LinkedIn is Frankie McDowell. Best luck to you. I'm Frankie McDowell. You're listening to Anthony Rogers Show every Tuesday nights.
Thanks again for the weather, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Frankie.
So that's a wild story, brother. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. It's like that's a tragic story. So man, where do you go? Okay, start from where do we leave off? Basically, you're on the 44th floor. You get into an elevator, and then like you had to escape through the stairwells. You said.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
crazy.
so basically, come back to it later about the elevator system, which is termed a catastrophe within a catastrophe. It gets into some of the conspiracy theories too. Um, but it did what it was programmed to do. So there was a power outage. It lost all the power. And I looked at the guy next to me, and if I passed that guy on the street tomorrow, I'd recognize him. And I know his face must have looked at mine like, just what in the world was that? But I had no idea it was something nearly as big as what it was. So it went down, and the elevator doors opened, and we all breathed a sigh of relief, and kind of stepped out into the lobby. And
The first floor lobby. It took you down to the
no,
first.
so on the 44th, the sky lobby,
Oh, okay, that's crazy.
and
So you're still in the sky. That's
so
crazy.
people are running around. It was probably maybe 4 or 5 seconds after impact, and people are already running around, and there was a lot of noise. And one thing I know I heard was one of the express elevators got cut, and I heard it going all the way down and crashed down at the bottom.
Oh my god,
There was smoke coming out of those express elevator shafts,
that's
which was at that point all the jet fuel was likely already going all the way down the elevator shafts to the basement. And there was smoke on the ceiling. It was kind of like, this was pretty high up above us. How could there be all this smoke right now? So I went over to, there was one window. I'm like, all right, got to go look up and see what's going on. And crystal clear blue sky, and really just up in the edge, saw a bunch of papers fluttering around and a little bit of smoke. And my first thought was, there was a terrorist bomb up on Windows on the World. And that kind of would have parlayed into something along the lines of what they did in '93
so
with the
you
bomb.
immediately thought terrorist attack. That's crazy. That's pretty on point.
So I got out really fast. I'm standing by the window, and it was right next to the emergency staircase. And this guy came running over, and he's like, "Get out of this building as fast as you can. I have no idea what's going on, but I was here in '93, and it took people 4 hours to get out."
So your first
So,
instinct was that you just knew it was a terrorist attack like immediately.
I mean, I thought, yeah, I
That's
mean,
was because of '93. Probably were you
it was at
working?
93, and then just looking up and seeing all those papers flying around.
Well, that's,
It was something pretty big.
no, it's a nightmare, man. I can't
Yeah,
believe you.
I thought it was a bomb. Windows on the World would be perfect. Put a place to put a
Oh, it
bomb.
makes sense. Were you working there in '93 also?
No, no, no.
Okay. I was just wondering. That's a
I'm
long.
not.
That's a long time.
I'd actually only been there 3 weeks. I'd always worked in
What?
Midtown. Yeah, I'd always worked in Midtown, and I was on this job for 3 weeks. and I hated it down there too. But Midtown was my style. So
That's crazy.
so this guy came running over. He's like, the stairway's right here, and I'm like right next to the door, and listen to what he said. And I remember hearing all the nightmare stories about it taking all day for everybody to get out in '93. So just started running down the staircase. Got down 2 flights, put my full cup of coffee down in the corner. I'm like, I can get a new one outside, and
ah,
just booked down and got about 20 floors in about 5 minutes, and then kind of started backing up.
oh, so there
Um,
were like people at the 20. Once you went down 20 something floors, there's a bunch of people trying to go down.
yeah, people were filtering in from the floors below, and then also, we were using 2 lanes to go down, and some of the first responders started coming up. So as soon as they started coming up, they were taking a single line. So basically, you had to go from 2 to 1 to get out. And it was kind of stopped. I tried to call my wife on my cell phone. They never, my phone never worked there anyways because the tower was on top of the building, so you're right underneath it. But figured I'd give it a try. And some guy who was able to get his phone to work said, "Hey, yeah, like a plane apparently hit the building." And
Holy
at that point, thinking it was a small plane, it was weird. I was on the east side of the building, and it was Tuesday, so I think Friday I was over looking at the trading floor, talking to some guys over there, and they face south out over the Hudson Harbor, and you just see all these little small planes flying around. And it was just kind of crazy that there are just so many of these planes flying around. We looked at each other and like, what a perfect thing for a terrorist to do, like fly one of these little Cessnas up into the George Washington Bridge or something. It literally said that like on Friday because, there was all the talk about potential terrorist attacks. And, I had no idea that it was a jumbo jet. But, and then it was weird. Like, it was probably around the 25th floor. And somebody opened the door and had somebody who was pretty hurt, like a little bloody, and kind of like, what? Why could this be on the 25th floor? And you could smell smoke in there, and there was smoke up by the ceiling. And it's like, why? Something happened up top. Why would all this be going on here? And my guess is, there were so many electric short outs and all the rest. Electronics are probably just catching on fire. So.
That's so,
Um,
so your first instinct at this point, like you're still on the 25th floor. Your first instinct is that like somebody like just a passenger, like just a rich person, private plane kind of hits it at first, or a terrorist.
Yeah, yeah, or just a Cessna, or like something that's happened.
Because
Yeah,
you heard a plane hit it first. Like somebody said that. Okay, and you're still in the 20th. Okay, that's
and
crazy.
that was really what was going on. Because I mean, even to look at what Bush when he was in Virginia, whatever. That's what they told him. Like a small plane hit the World Trade Center before he went out to talk to the kids.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. All those
I
clips.
was watching some clip too. It was like Howard Stern show when it happened. They thought the same thing.
Yeah,
I
that's
remember.
great. Yeah, that's crazy to think of. I mean, now we know what a thing it was. But yeah, you basically just like were like my elevator stopped working. I gotta use the stairs. I better get. Wait, someone just said a plane hit. That's crazy. I saw it's crazy so far. Okay, so like, well, when you get to that point, it's like it takes a sec to get out of the rest of the building, or how did you exit the rest of the building? Like,
Yeah, so it started slowing down a bit as the firemen started coming up. It took me a total of 25 minutes to get out. And so we came down and then went across the lobby, which, you know, there had been explosions or something like down there. There's papers all over the place. It was pretty empty. There's a few people running around. And they sent us to specific doors. So got out and they're like, don't look up, don't look up, don't look up. Just keep walking straight.
did
Meanwhile,
you look
walking
up?
along. No, I didn't. I mean, they were pretty.
Okay, you looking? Sorry, I just want to say.
There's stuff all over the place. So there's, stuff falling out of the sky. It was, one for your protection, so you didn't get hit in the face if you're going to get hit by anything. Two, people had jumped already, and it took me a couple of days of process. But I walk by what it looks like, and it's really not recognizable. Um,
You're saying you walked by people that had to jump out of the.
I was like, look back towards the building, and I pretty damn sure it was just a mound surrounded by red.
That's crazy. Yeah,
You
people
know,
trying to
it's.
exit that building out the window.
And I walked by like there was a woman's high heeled shoe that was just all covered in blood, and it's kind of like, all that like it's just not registering at all.
No, I bet, man. That's a lot, man.
Across the street, turned around and looked up, and the hole was the impact site, and just like, and
When
it's yeah, this mind is, what my first thought was.
what's that?
I'm like, I don't think I'm going to work tomorrow either. Like, I don't think we're going to be working in this building for a while.
Holy shit!
It was just like
Crazy.
no comprehension of how that could have been or happened. Like, all right, a plane flew in there, so didn't stick around. They're like, keep on moving on. You definitely wanted to get out. There was a lot of people to get out there. Not a lot of room around there. Obviously, not a safe
So when you
area.
so sorry when you leave, so basically, okay, you go down the stairs, got a little crowded, and then so you leave, and then you already see just basically just stuff that has fallen from the tower and stuff there too.
Yeah,
Oh, that's crazy. Okay, to think about
there's papers and
from the impact and stuff. That's crazy.
glass and pieces of metal, and
Was this the first plane or second plane that already hit it?
that was the first one. That was the
Yours
first
was
one.
so you got out as the first plane hit. After the first plane hit, you got out within 20 minutes after. That's
And
crazy.
I mentioned because it was like around that point when we stopped around the 25th floor, and actually we were stopping and waiting. We heard and felt the second one hit the other tower, and it
When
just
you when you were in
started.
it, when you were going
Yeah,
down still or when you're outside?
no, we were at the point where we had stopped around the 25th floor, and it just heard a loud bang and felt the building shake.
That's terrifying. That is
Yeah, no, it was like that's another one. Everybody's just looking at each other like, "What the hell was that?"
that's a
Mm.
lot, man. That's a lot to that's a lot to process and
But
deal.
again, no idea the extent of what was going on, though.
It's just noises at that time, and then just no noises and protocol. So how long did it take you once you're already out to like then look up and see how crazy the situation actually
Oh,
was?
as soon as I got across the street, it was like, "All right, we can look up now." And I'm like, "Oh, like,
What was your
oh."
thought on that when that happened? Like
That's
when
what I just said. Like, I don't think I'm going to work tomorrow either.
oh, that was right there. That was right there when you okay.
One thing I'll mention, I am a little hungover. It was the Giants were on Monday. It was opening night of the season. The Giants were on Monday Night Football on Monday night, and they got crushed by the Broncos. So it was up past midnight, and that was actually their first game after the Super Bowl down in Tampa, where the Ravens crushed them. That was like 31-6 or whatever. So it was starting the season off really bad.
So that's
So
crazy.
I was moving a little slower than normal. Like, all right, I get to go home now, I guess, and but I guess just so surreal that you can't even put together what was going on to have your mind act like that. I don't know, just
No, that's a lot, man. So
uh,
that's is that are we missing anything important out of the background story before we go to the next part? Like, on a or what are your thoughts? Because I think that's crazy, and I feel like I'm asking a lot of somebody that went through something crazy. I like to talk about, but I mean, is there anything else we're missing on that part? Because I want to start just asking I want to tell you how like people perceive it, and like I want to hear what your opinion is, and blah blah blah, and like I don't
sure,
know,
sure, sure.
but are we missing anything before I go to that part though?
No, I mean the rest was just trying to find a phone to call my wife and tell her I'm okay. And
No,
that was
God bless you for starting.
that
That's
was my mission.
nuts. That's nuts, bro. God bless you. I mean, you were very. I mean, unfortunate to be in that situation, but lucky to get out. Like you mean, so there's like
Yeah.
it's like both for sure. That's so
Well,
great.
I mean, let's go back to the elevators because I actually did not know this until March, and USA Today there was a reporter who did a lot of research, and basically they were in the process of upgrading and refurbishing all the elevators, and they hired this company called Ace, which some on the fringe view as the CIA's way to load the building with explosives. But it was a pre-planned project. When they built the towers, they knew that after 20 years they're going to have to redo the elevators. So this company Ace was really small and hadn't done a lot of big jobs. Was working on it, and they had done about half of them. And the half that they did not do what they were supposed to do when there was a power outage. So they did not necessarily all go to the floor they were supposed to. Apparently, on some of them, the emergency brakes didn't work. And then on others, they'd actually retrofitted steel bars on the lobby side doors that were basically like hooked so that people couldn't open them and then fall down the shaft. So even if people were in elevators and were able to get the inside doors open, there was no way anybody was getting those lobby doors opened.
That's terrible.
And that happened to about half of them.
Yeah,
And I never even knew that until March.
I looked that up after I found you on TikTok. I was doing homework and I saw that, and that was crazy to me. I mean, just that they got stuck, and that's just insane. I mean, I couldn't imagine. Like, I wouldn't wish that on my enemies, you know. But okay, so and what the weirdest part to me in this whole thing is like Building 7. Like, what are your thoughts on Building 7? Like, what like that one makes the least amount of sense to me in the entire thing.
It does make the least amount of sense, but it burned uncontrolled for 7 or 8 hours. All the firemen were working on the towers and working on search and rescue in the rubble, and there was no water pressure, so the sprinkler systems didn't work.
What ignited it? Just stuff falling from the sky and stuff, or
I mean, it was the same sort of thing that happened with the towers. It's just some of the load bearing steel, due to heat, got weakened and just eventually couldn't hold the weight anymore. And then as soon as one collapses, you then have like twice the weight, so it kind of pancakes down. I mean, I understand where all the theories come from.
that's what I mean. No disrespect to you at all. I want to.
No.
You're just the
I
perfect
just don't know
person.
why you would do it.
Yeah, you're the perfect person to ask. Is what I was asking. Yeah. Okay. So, and then Building 7 makes no sense to me, to be honest. Like the other ones do make sense, other than like how it felt. People wanted me to ask you more or less too, and I'm curious of the answer, to be completely honest too. But the most common question I heard when I told people this was happening was did you see any interference within or interference within the you were there for 3 weeks, I guess. Did you see anything crazy or suspicious prior in that building at all, or was this completely just random to you from your perspective?
I mean, it just looked like a normal New York office building.
There's no weird people coming in or out or anything. There's a lot of theories on that.
Yeah, of course there was. It's New York. I worked there for 18 years. I mean, there's a little bit of everything.
What are your thoughts on the controlled demolition aspect? There are theories that people are saying that basically, they think that, to add context, they think that those buildings were dropped with demolitions rather than like the plane dropping it. Not that a plane didn't hit it, but that they had demolitions on top of it is what I'm hearing people say. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I went down the rabbit holes of looking at those theories, and there's the one, the physicist who was at BYU, and he had the dust samples, which claimed there was evidence of thermite in it, and so they used thermite to do the controlled demolition. But actually, when I was undergrad, I started in science, and I'm big on statistics, and he had 4 samples, and none of them had a chain of custody. One was from a guy who was walking along 10 minutes after the towers fell, decided to pick it up, put it in a plastic bag, sat around in his apartment for 6 years until he got it in his hands. Another was a woman across the street, put some dust in a plastic bag, and then found out he was looking for it. I mean,
so you're saying it was already, that they sampled that stuff and looked for the explosive properties, more or less?
Yeah, so basically they then tested the sample and they found the thermite residue in it.
That's crazy. Do you obsess about this because you were involved in this? Like, do you
No,
like, go out
I was really,
like, I mean,
I was really intrigued because,
that's what I mean. That's what I mean by obsessed. Like,
and
you just go down the rabbit hole.
and I love my and believe in my share of conspiracy theories. I probably didn't really pay too much attention to these. I'd have people mention it. People be uncomfortable talking to me about it. People
Well,
generally, especially
it
once
is
I
a
moved
lot to ask
west.
somebody. It is a lot. I mean, as a host, it is a lot to ask somebody who went through a complete tragedy to think that to these things could, like, say if these theories are completely fake is kind of insulting, and I don't mean it like that at all. I think
No, 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 no.
empathy, and I just want to
I,
reassess that.
I don't. I've looked at them all, and I don't believe in any of them. There's other conspiracy theories I believe fully in, but these just, I see why they're out there. Um,
Well, if you
you know,
didn't experience it, like, and then the mind copes with tragedy. I mean, there could be several things, and then a lot of things like seem like, I mean, like Building 7 is the one that sticks out to me. That's the weirdest because I think almost like this is imagination based not on evidence. I mean, it's just not my perspective, like of a guy that wasn't there and not to be insulted. Like I said, like nothing but respect. Um, but like the one that went down, I think there's like a plane that went down like Pennsylvania or something, I believe. And then like I feel like that was supposed to hit the other building potentially or something like that too. There's insurance. Like a lot of people say there were insurance policies on these buildings, and then the Pentagon like stole like trillions of dollars before the Pentagon was hit in the exact room. I mean, a lot of this. What are your thoughts on that those
yeah,
couple layers?
sure. So the insurance policy is pretty simple. When the
Yeah.
World Trade Center was built, it was built by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, which is basically facilitates transportation between New York and New Jersey for commuters. They're the ones who built and own the World Trade Center. 6 weeks prior, Larry Silverstein, he didn't buy it, he leased them for 99 years. Basically, you couldn't really buy them because there were subways down below, the path tubes going to Jersey were down below. So basically, he took ownership of the building for 99 years. And he insured the building when he
Mhm.
did that, like anybody would do. And there was actually,
Which was right
just
before
like
the.
you do your house, your car,
Oh, true.
anything. And yes, there was a clause in there that mentioned terrorism, and it had not really been in any insurance contracts before. And in '93, it was $500 million of damage, and the insurance carriers did end up paying for that. But I'm sure there must have been some hand wringing, like, is terrorism? Do we have to pay that? Do we not? And so, he did the insurance policy with Larry Silverstein did with 25 companies. And I'm sure one of them said, well, what about terrorism? You know, maybe they were trying, do you want it in there? It'll be this price. Do you not? It'll be this price. So it ended up in there, and it was probably the first time it was in there.
It
But
was probably the timing of
now,
it.
now it's in everything. You probably look at your homeowner's policy, your car policy. It's going to say it's an exclusion. I even I saw life insurance. There's life insurance policies that exclude it. An accidental death policy excludes it. So
Well,
now
yeah,
it's mentioned in everything.
it's not that I think he invented insurance or was a pioneer in that, but I think that basically timing is like crazy because like it's like if I like if somebody like took out a policy on like their wife and then all of a sudden your wife's missing, it's just very suspicious. Like I would say the timing of it
Well, but what if they,
would be
married her 6 weeks beforehand?
that's what I mean. It's super suspicious. I feel like that, and then the
But,
day
but he
before,
bought him
Rumsfeld.
six. He bought it. There's no reason to insure it before that.
No, I feel that, but I'm just saying, like, and then Rumsfeld like announcing the trillions of dollars were missing from the Pentagon, and then the room doing the investigation was the room hit. Like he like the day before 9/11, Rumsfeld on television announced that basically trillions of dollars were missing from the Pentagon, and they just didn't know what happened to it. And it was like unaccountable, and they like used it. It was just this really weird, a bunch of weird inconveniences. I feel like, but it's just like I don't
Well,
know. It would make anybody suspicious. I feel
But
like
with the Pentagon, that was the first time they did an audit. Remember, we did one last year with like the eighth one. They were still couldn't find $800 billion. They're getting better, but
crazy.
it's basically just the bookkeeping. I mean, yeah, money's getting stolen. That's the
That's what I'm
kickbacks.
saying. That's
The
what I'm saying.
kickbacks are in there, and all the rest is in there. But it's they're still doing it today. you
No
know,
doubt. No, there's still crooks for sure. No, I'm not saying people became good afterwards, but in that situation, no, but that's
I
crazy.
don't think there would have been, any records of, if there had been records of that, then there'd be records for the last 7 times they've failed it. Because,
Well, no, I just mean it was a really weird time to announce that you just took
yeah,
trillions.
no.
There's a weird
Yeah.
heist. You saw there's multiple layers of money, and then like they built a bunch of oil pipelines overseas after. So it was like this weird like it seemed like this weird just like finance heist like of America like before you know or they at least I don't know or at least it was used poorly. I don't know. It's crazy to see. Like I mean it's such a like it's like when you look at tragedy do evil basically. You know what I mean? That's what I
Yeah.
feel like happened with our countries. I think everyone's really sympathetic during 9/11 and like saw like how terrible that was and stuff like that. And then like the things that happened after were just crazy. You know what I mean?
Oh
Just
yeah, no, it
crazy
was.
evil.
They got us all, all on board. Let's
No, they
go in
did.
Iraq. Let's
Got
go in
me. No, they got me.
Afghanistan. But yeah, no, it got me too.
Well,
It was.
obviously, I mean, more. Yeah, I mean, you have more. I mean, dude, I would. That's the crazy. I can't even believe you survived. Like, God loves you, man. I mean, you were in such a crazy situation, and like, I'm happy that. I mean, I couldn't imagine being in that situation. That's like, just like, that's just crazy to me.
I
Like,
say, I had something to do. It took me 20 minutes to find a phone and call my wife, and then it was like, all right, there's no way home from downtown. I walked 5 miles to Midtown to have lunch with coworkers from my last job.
that's
I
crazy.
was,
So where did
and
you work at the time? You said you worked there for 3 weeks prior.
yeah,
What was the comp? What kind of working company? What was it? Just out of curiosity.
so I was working for Daiichi Kangyo Bank, which was in the process of merging with two other Japanese banks for Mizuho, which when they actually merged at that point in time was the largest bank in the world,
That's
and
crazy.
they're still like number 50 or something. So I was doing leverage finance, which is basically the bank loan side of leverage buyouts. Doesn't not nearly as excited as it sounds. You're like, what the hell's he talking about?
No, it was interesting. You had me thinking. I work within those towers. I mean, I was a kid when I saw that, so I don't know. You mean I didn't even that building didn't even exist most of my life. You know what I mean? So it's just like I was like, I mean, so I was like, just curious, and I mean, I mean, you just there's so many thoughts about it. You just picture yourself here. I was kind of going where you were at the time, and I was in a classroom. You just think about it all
Oh
happening.
yeah, no, sure, sure, sure.
It's a
No,
weird.
so while you were sitting in a classroom, I'm like running down stairwells, and then
That's
you
so
know,
crazy.
I
Yeah,
walk, I walked five
bro.
miles in my wingtips up to 56th Street.
Oh my god.
On a beautiful day. The worst I was hurt was I got a nasty sunburn because it was a beautiful day. And
That's a lot, though, man. You're blessed to get out of a situation like that. That's crazy. Like that's like no, it's such a no. I mean, did you? So I mean, what are you? I mean, you probably do you get more sympathy, empathetic? Or do you have more feelings towards it, like when it happens every year? Or you just kind of like like or what is 9/11 like for you? A person that actually like dealt with it, like you first.
it was when I was still in New York, it was everybody talked about it but didn't. And then kind of went. I got out of New York in 2007. I actually was in Vail, Colorado for 12 years. So I'd get calls from people, but I didn't really any of my new friends there really talk to anybody about it. And I was taking off. I'd go on a nice hike or something. September's the best time to be in the mountains of Colorado, so I just get out and enjoy it. And the times almost like forget, and then wake up and turn on the computer, remembering 9/11, and see the picture. Like, damn it, I wasn't ready for that. Seeing the picture of the towers. Um,
No, I bet,
And
man.
then, for whatever reason, how I ended up doing that research back in the spring, this year's very different because of what I found out about the elevators. I'm in a spot now like I've not had to go on an elevator in the last 6 months. So I may never have to go on another elevator again in my life. So,
No, it's a lot. Like even as a person that hasn't dealt with like a tragedy in an elevator, like elevators sketch me out constantly. 'Cause all these towns are old, man. We're like in 2025, and all these towers are built forever ago. It's like I mean, maybe not. Maybe not that one is that one wasn't that old, was it?
they were built in the late 70s.
Yeah, I mean, you're in the
But
19.
it was old. I mean, and some of the things that everybody talks about it was this beautiful, luxurious skyscraper. It was actually, at that point, it was considered Class B space. I think I did the math. It was basically between concrete floor top and concrete floor top. It was about 12 feet. And so they had all the ceilings with all your heating pipes, cooling pipes, on electricity in there. So it's probably like 9-foot ceilings. But they were built in the late '70s, but people were still using typewriters.
Yeah.
So and that was like 9/11 was right after the dot-com bubble burst. So everything was going to technology, and just really the buildings just couldn't handle the amount of power to have real Class A high tech office space. So it's really more, it wasn't cutting edge. And a lot of places actually had like back offices in there. And I was working for a Japanese bank, and they were known to be a little frugal in the United States. Um, and they, that's one of the reasons why they ended up there. And they probably thought it was a little more prestigious than it actually was. But because all three of the banks were there, and one of the ones we merged with was in the North Tower, and they were on floors 79 to 83, right in the impact zone. And it was Fuji. Every single American got out. Like as soon as the first tower was hit, all the Americans left. And the Japanese stayed at their desks waiting for head office to tell them it was okay to go. So they lost 22 people
Damn, that's crazy.
right in the impact zone. But it's crazy because I hear a lot of people, in the stories about them telling everybody in the South Tower to go back to their desks. It's like I ended up working with a lot of those people once the merger went through, and they all left. I don't know. They're when I was a New Yorker, there's no way I would have listened to building security. I'm like, I'm doing whatever I feel like doing. If something like this is going on, I'm not listening to you. Sorry, I'm getting the hell out of here.
What was it like? What was it like after that for all the? I mean, you probably had a lot of coworkers and friends and stuff. What was it? What was it like? Like after that? Like for your company, even like what do they even say to you? Like what's that? What does your company say about that? Like that's like a crazy thing. Like
I mean, it was, what can you say? I
that's what I figured.
mean,
I couldn't imagine. I couldn't
um,
imagine.
and my direct manager, Mr. Yamamori, great guy, didn't speak great English. And I'm like working my way to get home, and my wife's at home waiting for me to call to tell her where, she's going to pick me up. And Mr. Yamamori called. and, is John okay? And it was pretty funny. I could just imagine that conversation because I always talk, I'd only been working for them for 3 weeks, and you had to deal with a lot of heavy Japanese accents and Japanese personality and Japanese rituals and sort of, just the way they work. So yeah, just checks you okay, and like we'll be in touch. And then they ended up getting emergency office space in Jersey City, and we went in there on Friday. So it happened on Tuesday. So Friday we went into Jersey City. But the crazy thing was, and it was not just DKB, it was most everybody. Nobody did data backup back then.
Huh?
There was nothing.
Yeah.
There was literally nothing. So, you go in and they're buying a couple computers, they're putting on some Wi Fi, a couple of cell phones. If you had, not everybody had a cell phone back then. And literally, there was just nothing. And, the capital markets are going through a pretty rough time. And do you know what commercial paper is at all?
I'm vaguely know what it means, but I'm
So
like,
basically, high grade corporates borrow short term in the money market using something called commercial paper. That's what your money market funds invest to. So you put your money in a money market fund, they're buying all these companies' commercial paper. And then each company is backstopped by a bunch of banks in case they can't roll it over, the banks can fund it as a way to pay it back. So obviously that's a big corporate business, had a ton of those lines. They knew nothing really about what they had. They got a list from head office of the companies we had lines for and the amounts of them. And it was like, all right, we got to call these companies to find out if they're going to draw. So literally, I got a piece of notebook paper with 10 companies' names written on, no phone numbers, nothing. You got to call information, find the phone number, and then track down somebody who's going to want to talk to you about it. It was kind of crazy. I
No,
mean, everybody was great and really helpful, and a lot like, we're drawing from other banks. Okay, you were in the trade center. We're not drawing from you. The ones that had the ability to do that. So they were great in that respect. But yeah, I mean, that's when the whole thing about doing data backup became a really big topic.
no, I bet that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, what was the vibe like? Did you live in New York City at the time too?
No, so I was in Jersey, a town called
Oh,
Montclair.
okay.
So
What was the vibe like after that? Like, right? So, I mean, I mean, I understand what it was for America and here, and so for people that had no involvement, but like, what was the energy like the week or so after that, all that?
now I didn't go back in for. I think we were in Jersey City for 2 weeks, and then they found us some empty office space in Midtown. So it was really 3 weeks until I went back into, but 2.5, 3 weeks. It was weird. Everybody's still just trying to get over it and fathom what had happened. I wasn't scared. I don't really know anybody else who was really scared. I mean, I guess there were some people who were scared, but I don't. I had even then once we finally went through the merger, we ended up at 1251 Avenue of the Americas, which is right across the street from Rock Center. I could look out the window down at Radio City Music Hall, and Katie, Matt, and Al are out doing the Today Show every morning. I'm like, all right. I always thought that might have been a good target for him, but I don't know. Made it through that one. Bring it on, I guess. I don't know.
Huh. That's crazy. Like,
There's nothing you can really do about it. You can't live scared.
no, that's real. That's real too.
You know.
So, like, did like weeks after, what was the so New York, was it just, or was everybody kind of in shock there, or was it just like, was it not? I mean, I imagine that would, it's probably not anywhere close to the same after something like that, you know?
Yeah. No. It took a while for things to get back to normal. I mean, it slowly did, and it's New York, and it always comes back. So I don't know. It seemed like after 6 months or something, it probably got a little better. But it was just weird because it was the space that I was in. We literally had nothing to do. They're in the middle of the merger, and then all this stuff happened, and basically they're like, we're not lending you more money. Keep an eye on what your accounts are, but we weren't generating any new business. So literally just go in there, and I was in a cube on the inside without even any windows, and literally went in there and did nothing for 6 months. It was pretty boring, and that's when I've got the CFA charter, and I was studying for the first exam, so I actually got to go in and study during work, which was really nice. I did really well on the first level.
That's
And luckily, I had that. But and the thing is, when you're working for a Japanese bank, they may know at least back then, you may not be busy, but you had to look busy.
yeah, that's work.
You
That's
know.
that's job. So, do you believe the official story of 9/11 then? Like what they said basically about it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, it was planes. How they fell. They fell the way they fell. I'm probably in the boat where the Bush administration might have known more than they let on to, and they might have even identified these people, um, and were maybe looking for a bigger nab to help them justify all the wars, but they didn't let it get to what it did. That's where I come out.
Are there any conspiracy theories that you believe in that you have read that are labeled a conspiracy theorist or not mainstream definitions that that you believe in?
Until somebody could tell me what was in Michelle Obama's pants on Ellen, I believe he has a penis. I now,
Big Mike
they
theory.
call that a conspiracy theory. I don't think it's a conspiracy theory.
I meant about 9/11 in particular. I
Oh,
mean,
9/11. I thought you were talking about other conspiracy
no, just in
theories.
general, like like the passport like didn't burn, like a bunch of stuff. Like, what are your thoughts on like stuff like that? Like somehow a passport
Yeah,
survived. Or,
I mean, I could see how that could happen. I guess
but I mean, are there any? I mean, are there
why
any?
why it would otherwise be out there though. Like every time I look at one and say, okay, that's really strange. Kind of just ask, but why? How or why could that have otherwise have happened?
No, I have no idea. I was just wondering if like certain ones stuck out to you that you thought. I'm just repeating them. I,
The only thing really is the five dancing Israelis, and it's really hard to find a legitimate story. And there's some stories that say that they watched the first impact, but others that they were just watching and cheering afterwards. I mean, they're definitely Mossad, you know.
what are your
Yeah,
thoughts? That's the biggest like probably connection that I mean people are trying to make today. So what are your thoughts on Mossad being like potentially involved in that whole thing?
I don't see it. They may have known, or like the Bush administration may have known something was up. Maybe they did know, but I don't think they were involved in it.
Just documenting or something like that?
Well, I mean, they were spies and they were off doing their spy stuff in Jersey City, and it hit the news, and they went and they saw it, and they were cheering. Yeah, I mean, I understand why they could, why they said they were cheering. No, I mean that's the one that's the biggest question.
What makes you question it? Like what aspects? What does your mind
It
think?
just that they were cheering, that they were there, and never really able to get a straight answer as to exactly who they were.
Yeah, that's one of the vaguest stories in the in the whole thing. That's a super vague story for sure.
But a lot of it gets twisted around. Like, in my comments on my video, they were dancing across the street. No, they were across the river in Jersey City.
They were far, yeah. They
Yeah,
just
they were in Jersey City.
no. That's one of the definitely one. That's definitely an interesting perspective on it too. Like so it's weird. Is it weird to read conspiracy theories on 9/11? Whenever like you actually were there, like is that like crazy?
I mean, it was at first, and now that I've done the research, now it's like I've looked into each one, and you know, have gotten to the bottom where something doesn't make sense, and all right, that's what it is, and I come out. I mean, the one thing I've learned: conspiracy theory propagation is a massive business. It's a massive business.
That's funny, bro.
Goes far beyond the Infowars empire.
I agree.
Everybody's out there looking to make a buck off of it,
No, that's I mean
and
that's fair too, bro. I mean,
looking for the followers, looking for the clicks, looking for. So I get it, and and people want to believe it. There's an immense amount of distrust in our government, and the people who distrust it probably want to distrust them more.
yeah,
And in some
you never
respects,
really
want to believe them.
Yeah, I just feel like you never really know. I mean, other than people at first, I mean, you firsthand saw like a lot of it. So I'm saying like, yeah, it's just like it traumatized a nation and world probably even, and then like we all like watched it and saw the people. I mean, not as up close as you, but like saw the people jumping out of like the building. I mean, that whole thing. I mean, just as a kid watched. I mean, that whole thing, I could just still see.
How old are you?
I was a junior in high school. I was probably 16 years old when that happened.
Oh, oh.
And they pulled in like TVs and just showed the entire class like just people on fire and shit. I'm like, oh my god, it was such a.
Crazy.
I mean, that's why no, that's why I reiterate a million times. I mean, no disrespect. I know how crazy and
Yeah,
terrible
yeah,
it
sure.
was. Because like we just watched that. I mean, everyone knows how terrible it is. Like the entire thing, the entire world agreed with us. I feel like, and I think the military handled things dumb afterwards. But I mean, it just current. Bush. I mean, Bush Bush was president during a tragedy, so I was like the worst president to probably ever have for that. I don't know. So, yeah, I feel like, it's like I don't like how it's handled. Is what I'm saying. I don't like a lot of how it's handled, but
Oh
like I
no,
said,
I mean they definitely, yeah, the military industrial complex is a military industrial complex, and they're going to do what they do, and they really took advantage of it. That is for sure.
I think that definitely. I think that definitely, especially when you look back, you're like, man, what like how they just milked the tragedy to just put oil pipelines up. I'm just like, that is insane to me. Like it was just like, yeah, I don't know how, I don't know, man. The whole thing's just a crazy thing, man. It's just like, I mean, we think about it every year because of how terrible it is. As a reminder, I think that was like the beginning of like the decline of the West. It was like from 9/11 to now. I think we've lost a lot of like buying power and like, economic situations have gone. I mean, people were complaining about it at least. I'm probably fine, but people were complaining about it. It's like I don't know. That's just a lot to go through, man. Like well, what are some other like misconceptions that people may have about the situation that you find?
Um, the other thing really, is getting back to the controlled demolition. Like the dust samples, there's no scientific basis as to whether or not that was dust or not. One thing, and I actually found myself on a Reddit type site for engineers, and there's never been a skyscraper that's been controlled demoed with thermite. So, people like to say, oh, they found thermite and they used thermite to do the controlled demo of the Twin Towers. There has never been a building demoed with thermite. So I didn't
Yeah,
even know if that could work.
yeah. I don't know what they did it with, but it definitely. I mean, to me, it looked like a control. It looked like it, like
It, 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 it,
the way it
it
felt looked like it. But I don't. Like I said, I'm an idiot, man.
I,
Like
I, I, I
I don't
saw
feel
the
things.
I saw the South one go in real life, and it looked like it was in slow motion.
Yeah,
And I would not be surprised if there's videos out there on social media that speed it up.
yeah. That's interesting. So, what
Yeah.
was that like? So, what you watched this? You watched them fall. Where were you at when that happened? That's crazy.
I was walking north, and I just crossed Canal Street and stopped to sit on a brownstone staircase to smoke a cigarette. And I was just looking at them burning, and then all of a sudden, just it was crazy.
No, I bet, man. That's
That's really when it all hit me. I just got up and started bawling.
no,
Grown man.
I bet, man.
Like, holy cow.
Yeah, that's a lot, man. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
America
And
was there with you, man. They weren't even involved in it. Just watched it on TV. America was in the same situation, to be honest, man. Like,
it was a mile away. And when it started going, I had the flight instinct. Like I got up and started running away before I realized, okay, it's not that close. But it was still, a 1,200-foot building, a mile away. That's still a fifth of the distance. You think about it, it's a fifth of a mile high, I guess. Um, and I did not see the North Tower go down. I was walking north at that point in time.
so you were already gone by then, basically.
I was walking up and I got to Washington Square Park and had some open area to look back down. And like, I just see this smoke and I like turn to somebody and I'm like, did the other one fall? They're like, yep, 10 minutes ago.
Holy shit, that's
Yeah.
insane. That's insane.
Yeah.
Do you get mad at people that like try to exaggerate the situation or something like that? Like how like Buzz Aldrin, like whenever like people tell him like no one landed on the moon, he like tries to punch him or something like that. Too. Does it make you mad when people don't understand
No,
like it's true? Yeah.
no. I mean, I understand why. And, I even like in doing my research found some articles about the levels of and having a conversation with conspiracy theorists, and it actually a lot of in the comments session it kind of followed along, but then they went to other stuff, and like this also applies to people who are climate change deniers. Like, I'm a climate change denier. Like, no, actually, it happens when you're arguing with the people trying to convince you of climate change. Um, it kind of gets into either it happened a lot in the comments, either an insult or basically saying, "Well, you're one of them," and I've got, "Well, you're one of them" a bunch of times, and I thought it was pretty funny.
What made you want to go online and tell your story and stuff like that? Like I saw your TikTok and stuff like that. What made you want to go on there and tell
I
the
actually, wanted the answers to the questions because you know how TikTok works. Like, I went on TikTok in May and I was basically doing it to advertise, and you find one of the videos and it's just going to keep on pumping them into you. So I'm like watching this stuff and I'm kind of getting deluged with it. I'm like, let's go on and see. I was definitely throwing some bait out there. I never thought it would get 200,000 impressions, and then I'd get over 1,000 followers.
Oh man, you're gonna get keep.
I had no idea. I'm a nano influencer.
No, you'll keep getting bigger. I mean, this is when I saw it. I was
They
like,
yesterday shut it down. I
oh,
didn't realize it. It was stuck at like 197,000 impressions, and I'm seeing I'm not getting comments and likes. So I actually went in to look at the analytics, and it told me it was no longer allowed to be in my feed due to violation of community guidelines. And
that's-
it's like, what? And it actually gave me a reason to say why I didn't understand. And then I did appeal it and they put it back up. But I think it was what's the main thing they said? Authenticity. Like they think I'm lying about it, being a survivor.
huh?
Let me see. Maybe ineligible for the For You feed. One, behavioral health. Two, sensitive and mature themes. Three, integrity and authenticity. And four, regulated goods. You know, sensitive and mature themes. I mean, there's plenty of stuff out there that's similar. So I'm thinking it's the integrity and authenticity. And I even think that, a bunch of the conspiracy theory propagators or followers. And I had other stuff that I tried to put up that got taken down immediately. And I think they follow me so they can report it. If
What
I
was
was,
what kind of material was taken on immediately?
it was a short video about why Larry Silverstein got his insurance policy,
Hmm. That's
and it said integrity and authenticity. Like I don't know, this guy's not really a survivor. Larry Silverstein didn't build the building, or other. Do conspiracy theorists have feelings too? Of course, I don't know. Can they handle it? I don't know. Yeah, so I had a couple that I was going to do, and after that, I actually got a strike. So um, I'm like, screw it. I need it for business. I'm not going to screw around with this stuff too much. I don't need to get banned and lose the platform to advertise.
no, I agree.
No. But it's really interesting how get like 40,000 views in the first 2 days. And I just advertised. I had like 32 followers and 200 likes, and it went bonkers. But if you look at your analytics, it went to a 2/3 male audience. 95% of the audience was over 35. So when you think of that in terms of the overall TikTok audience, that's way old and way male. It wasn't even showing it to the kids. And I think it was a lot of the people who just feed on the conspiracy theory content were getting it shown first, and they were commenting a lot, which really gave it all the traction.
What do you think about these people in the comments are saying that it was an inside job? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, all inside job. I mean, comes down to controlled demolition and all the rest. And it could be, did they let it happen? I don't think they knowledgeably let it happen. They may have let it get farther than it should have, but inside job is controlled demolition or direct energy weapons. the holographic planes, the military drones. Have you seen those?
I have not. What was that one?
There's like literally there's a fringe that says they weren't even hit by planes. There were explosives in there, and they used holographic planes. And then there's another that actually used military drones. The actual flights took off. There's videos of this, and then they swapped them with military drones. And if you look, the planes are just gray. They don't look like American Airlines planes, and that's what they hit the buildings with. With like, well, what happened to all the people in the planes? And there's literally like video, like pilots will say there's no way that even an experienced pilot would be able to hit the buildings, let alone somebody who was just in flight school. It's kind of like I remember that next time I'm on a plane that's landing and trying to hit runway. you know, there's all sorts of ones about there were phone calls, and most of the phone calls were made on airphones. Do you remember what the airphones were? I don't
Oh,
think they have them anymore. It was a phone in the back of the seat in front of you. You put your credit card in. It was like $4 a minute to make a
oh
phone
yeah,
call.
yeah, yeah.
So most of the calls were on those, and there were a couple of cell phone calls. So there's a lot of people you can't even make a cell phone call from a plane. And you can. I've I've talked to people who are on planes making cell phone calls, but in terms of and it's just weird though. There's like with that somebody even went and did a test, and there's a video up with you know tens of thousands of likes where they tested it, where they're flying a plane over the cell phone tower to prove that you can't make the call. If you're flying over a cell phone tower, no, it's not going to. You got to be on an angle. You got
This
to
is
have a line of sight.
this is a good question. Have you developed a phobia of flying or entering tall buildings after all this?
I did not have one. No phobias all with the tall buildings. I left in 2007. Like I said, I moved to Colorado. I was in the transportation business in Vail, and no, the last time I've probably been on a plane has been about 10 years. But I don't feel a need to fly anywhere. I like where I am now. I like to drive. Like last time I went, back to New Jersey, I drove. I love a good drive across country.
We addressed this slightly earlier, but this one's coming. If you're able to provide a yes or no answer, what? I don't know what that means. What is each of your what is I guess both of our opinions on whether the government was involved with Building 7 collapse? Do you think the government was involved with that?
I do not. I think Building 7 collapsed due to burning uncontrollably for 7 or 8 hours. And there's one.
Oh, sorry, good.
No, I mean, it burned uncontrollably for 7 or 8 hours. There were no firefighters in there. The sprinkler systems didn't work. Um, one thing that kind of goes back to the first two towers. Steel starts to lose its structural integrity at 1200 degrees.
No,
So,
my
so
answer
you
is
kind of look at the two towers. Jet fuel, if it was just laid out on the ground, would burn between 800 and 1500 degrees, sort of in an open environment. And steel loses 50% of its structural strength at 1200 degrees. So if that steel gets heated up over the course of a day, and you've got all the electric fires, which potentially burning hot, that steel is going to lose its strength and just going to slowly lose it.
in my personal opinion to answer the question too. Like, I don't know mainly because I wasn't there, but to be completely honest, I don't want to lay claim to anything. I am super suspicious of Building 7 more than any of the rest of it. I would say, I mean, the Pentagon and Building 7 are probably the ones that make the least amount of sense to me. I would say, but I don't like. I mean, just to answer your question in the comments. Also, I don't. I mean, like I said, I wasn't there, so I'm a false witness if I was to say what I like something happened that you know what I mean. But no, I think Building 7 is definitely suspicious. I mean, there's like about 5 or 6 things that are just like you're just like what? Like, I mean, like they just don't make a lot of sense. But also, it's just reading the reports, and I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't there. I have no evidence either way. You know, it's like to say something you have to prove it. I feel like you know, like so it's just like I'm open minded to it. You know, and like I said, like the Pentagon and Building 7 make the least amount of sense. The towers, I mean, we all in the entire world watched the planes hit, and like I don't know how that works. So I mean, I can't. You mean I'm not like a I'm a comedian, so I'm an idiot, man. I'm not like a I'm not you know I'm not building things. I'm not you know I'm just saying like it takes a I don't understand it fully, but I mean I'm always questioning it for sure because I definitely don't believe my I don't the government's hard to trust. I feel like you know what I mean like in a lot of ways, or it's just inefficient. Really, like honestly, that is refreshing to hear. I start reading too much in these
I'll
two.
say on TikTok, there's an account, Sabin Civil Engineering, SABIN, who have great multi video engineering explanations as to how they fell.
I just feel like my mind doesn't even work like that, so it's hard to understand. I mean, you could tell me the exact reason how it fell, and I still
Sure,
just don't understand it because I'm like just yeah. I mean,
I hear.
I'm just like I can tell you everything about a band or something from like the '90s, right? But yeah, I couldn't tell you. You saw my brain works. You'd literally explain it to me, and I just wouldn't. So it's like that's why I feel like it's a giant question mark for me. It's like I just don't. I mean to say I understand anything like that would just be a lie, you know. That's hilarious. This question's funny. Have you ever gotten laid from your 9/11 story?
No,
Sorry, I had to ask that.
I got divorced. I mean, you know,
Oh, no,
um,
like,
I'm trying to think.
that's such a great
No,
question, though. What a great, what a great question.
I actually felt guilty going on TikTok with it, and with potentially alternative to help business by getting followers.
Yeah,
I felt a
no,
little. I never even brought it up in a job interview.
no, I bet. What business are you in now?
Right now, I'm selling life insurance, but I think tomorrow that's completely changing.
What are you gonna
So,
do?
small business consulting,
Oh, okay.
business coaching. So I had the 20 years in the financial markets, heavy analysis, pretty much in every industry there was in banking, and then had my own business for 12 years. So I think it's a pretty damn good way to combine those and help small business owners.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, selling life insurance sucks.
No, every single job
I
sucks.
don't believe in it myself, so it's hard to sell somebody you don't really believe in.
No, that's very true. I don't. I stopped doing that. Like I did it in my 20s. Like I had to do that, but man, like I had like the best job in the entire world. I just work all the time. You know what I mean? So it's like I just got back from Kentucky. We just covered 2 music festivals out there, interviewing like all these bands and stuff. And I'm just like, I mean, my complaints are crazy to tell somebody. I'm like, oh man, I had to talk to all these rock stars I loved as a kid for 2 weeks in a row. You know, it's like, I mean, there's probably no sympathy from people, I imagine, but it's just like it's a lot of work doing podcasting. You know, so I feel like it's it's a lot of work, man. You know,
I see that. Those who can't do consult.
that's hilarious. I didn't see that. That's funny. That's why like what you
I'm too old to go back into another business myself. That's
well, do what you know, man. Do what you know. It's like and like just you got to pay your bills no matter what, man. Nobody likes to work, man. You know, it's like I mean, some people are crazy enough to like it, I guess, but even if you have a, I mean, I probably have the best job in the entire. No, they're a consultant too. Great. That makes it funnier. Right? That's funny. That's great sense of humor, man. Yeah, it's like, is there anything like I didn't bring up that you think is very important? I mean, it's like obviously you know way more about it than me.
I don't think so. I think I get through most of the story. I think I get most of the theories.
That's pretty solid.
Look into the direct energy one. That's a pretty funny one.
want to
There's
check
one
it out.
guy who even said there was a hurricane that was off the coast, and they actually were able to use that and harness that to increase the power of the direct energy weapon they used to disintegrate the towers.
Yeah, stuff like that just makes the skeptical thinking or the like free thoughts on it like just sound insane. Like I mean that's just like completely insane to me. It could be real. Maybe I don't understand direct energy weapons. Also, it's like so. It's just it sounds great. I'll meet you at it. Sounds
Sounds
great.
pretty cool, like
Yeah, it does sound cool, but I like you,
why
you
why would we use them on the battlefield? Why do we use those in Iran to blow up the mountain instead of all B-2 bombers?
yeah, no
Got direct energy weapon.
doubt. I bet people are really hush on their new weapons. I think. Excuse me. I bet as like wars outbreak or break out, we'll see more stuff that we're sitting on. I think a lot of people are sitting on some stuff, but I don't believe that theory. Just you're saying, like I'm not like I'm, not, I'm just I'm just,
No,
I'm,
it's
I'm just feeding into it. Like I'm just like
the funny was, there was a couple times a day, like an FBI or I'm Mossad myself. People go, oh, the FBI's here.
my first
Uh,
instinct was my first instinct actually like with you like was I'm like this is definitely
when they said it was, they said I was Mossad. I'm like, I told them my nose would be a giveaway. Don't use me. My nose is going to give me away.
yeah. No, I mean people never know. I mean people say that stuff about everybody, man. Like the internet,
But even if, people know, they don't give it to me, but what I see they're capable of doing in advertising, just hitting that enter on TikTok, the amount that they know is just mind boggling. You can advertise down to a phone model in a zip code, a
yeah,
certain level of income, you know, gender, they know exactly where you are. It's meta where you can actually do a pin drop, and you can drop a pin and advertise within a radius of it.
that's crazy to think about.
Well, if you're on Instagram, you're walking down the street, restaurant,
Ah, yeah.
it'd be absolutely perfect.
No, it is perfect. Yeah.
But TikTok's telling me people who I should follow, I didn't give you access to any of my phone, any of my contacts. I'm not on Facebook, but I don't let you into anything. There's no way you should know that I know that guy in Vail, Colorado.
Yeah, that's weird.
Especially since I haven't even been to Vail since I've been on TikTok.
Do you have his phone number?
I have a Vail phone number, but I don't. There's a couple of them. It's just weird.
Yeah, I bet they know your phone logs. Or your phone logs. Yeah.
But I don't let them into my phone logs.
I bet that's all an
And
illusion.
they ask you at the weirdest times, like you're trying to do something, and and you post a video, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, can we have access to everything you have on your phone?" No, they keep on asking, and when you're, like, "Damn it, I hit it, I gave it to them." It's kind of crazy.
No, there's a lot of they know everything about us. We have microphones. I mean, they just a lot of those clicking things are just formalities, man. Like they'll do whatever they want. Like
Yeah. No, it took me a lot to get on it, and I'm like, finally.
well, you
I
definitely
got
have a more interesting TikTok. So, what is the name again? I'm sorry. Like, is what is the TikTok name? I can maybe pull up on screen for people to get more information on that because it is an actual interesting TikTok. What was it again?
mine or
Your personal TikTok where you tell stories about being.
is John JOHN _, Theirfelder, and you've got it misspelled here. It's THIER
TH THIER
FEL
FEL.
DER
Okay.
_ CFA.
CFA.
Yeah.
Okay, let me put that and I'll pull up on the screen for people to follow. It's actually worth following. That's actually how I reached out to him. I watched his videos and thought they're interesting. Yeah, I spelled your name wrong on the episode, is what you're saying?
Yeah. It's the most common. It's the most common misspelling. Don't feel bad
I'll
about it at
fix it
all.
after this. I'm so bad at last names, brother. So you know.
I'm
But
bad at names myself too. So
yeah, I
my
called
name gets hacked, so I hack everybody else's.
you. Notice I called you John the entire time, right? Like I never once addressed the last
Let's
name.
hear. Let's hear you try and say it.
Oh God, if Theirfelder,
That's really close. Tierfelder.
Theirfelder. My bad. See, that's why there's so many last names, dialogues, and cultures everyone came from. It's like I have to definitely ask. Definitely ask that. But
I
no,
know.
that
Even like there's a guy on YouTube. It's a German name, and he actually pronounces it right. Like they do a th, but with a hard T, and it's like my mouth can't do it. It's like it's like one of those guttural German things.
So if you're listening on audio and you do not have this on your screen, it is on TikTok. It is John underscore THIERFELDER underscore CFA on TikTok. He talks about his own personal experiences, and he actually is going up against a lot of conspiracy theories too, which I thought was interesting. I thought that was such an interesting angle to have somebody like discuss what the public thinks versus a guy that was actually there. I just thought that was such an interesting concept. And I really appreciate you like taking the time to do that, John. I appreciate you coming out here, coming on here and taking the time to tell your
Yeah.
story and stuff, man. Like that's such a crazy story, and I appreciate you like doing that, man. Like,
Appreciate you having me.
yeah, man. If you have another premise, like there's something I'm open to it too, man. You seem chill and very informative and like on point, you know. So it's like I'm open to that. But I don't know. Thanks again, man. And if you guys are watching this, thank you for spending your Tuesday afternoon. I mean East Coast time. What is it? 11 East Coast time. So if you're on the East Coast, you're crazy, and I appreciate you. And and thank you everybody else for like watching and stuff. And if you have any fast comments for John before we get out of here, feel free to pull it up before we get out of here. But anything else you want to bring up that I didn't like promote or like anything like that? I think we covered everything, man. Like, no, that was a compelling story. Well, yeah, probably get out of here, man. Thank you for coming on here again. I appreciate you, brother.
All righty. Thanks for having me.
And we'll be back next Tuesday if you're watching this at home or in your phone or however you watch this. If you scan that QR code on the left, you can get the Anthony Rogers Show on pretty much anything that podcasts come on. Trying to think of anything like that. You could go to my website and buy a T-shirt if you want. I'll have new T-shirts soon. Also, I'm trying to think of anything else I got going on. We have so many Rockstar interviews. We just dropped the Tech Nine interview. And then we have so many Rockstar and rapper interviews coming out from just covering these festivals. So Bourbon and Beyond is already up, and we have the Gin Blossoms, Blues Traveler, and Pigeon is playing ping pong all in that video on this account. Well, this Rumble or this YouTube or this Twitch, I believe I'm on also. So check that stuff out. I'm trying to think if I have anything else. Like, I'm doing so much, so you can't just like you got to catch people up. You know, it's like that way they know what to expect. You know, but no, I appreciate you coming down here. I'm gonna get out of here, and everybody watching this, hope you have a good night, and hope all your dreams come true. And
Good night.
right.